What would you do if you came home to find 20 cabins slapped down on your inherited land? Bulldozers tearing up your father's handmade fence, and the HOA president herself, Lana Whitmore, just shrugging like it's no big deal. Yeah, that happened to me. The county had approved it, she said, like I didn't even exist, like the land my dad poured his soul into was just a square on her spreadsheet. They figured I'd just take it, right? Fold, walk away, let them carve up my legacy for a tidy profit. They couldn't have been more wrong. This is where it all really starts, right there on the gravel, boots covered in sawdust, jaw clenched so tight I thought my teeth would crack. Let me back up a sec. 3 years before that showdown, I was Ethan Coley, a 41-year-old engineer, recently jobless after Boeing axed half a department. Burned through my savings, watched my resume disappear into the void. You know the drill. Finally, I did the only thing that made sense. Drove back out to Clearwater Lake, to the 15 acres my dad, Robert Cole, left me when cancer took him. My father built our log cabin by hand. He was a Vietnam vet who taught me that this land was more than an asset. It was our family's heartbeat, the place where you learned what mattered. So I cooked up a plan: ecotourism, a few rustic cabins, guided hikes, make something honest out of what Dad left behind. I thought, what could go wrong? When I crested the hill above the lake, expecting to see our old cabin, what I saw instead was a high-end resort, 20 prefab cabins lined up with military precision, fresh asphalt where wildflowers used to grow. My knees went soft. I sat in that truck for a good 10 minutes, gripping the wheel, heart pounding in my ears. I kept telling myself, maybe I'd made a wrong turn. But then I spotted Eagle's Perch, that rock formation Dad named when I was 6, jutting out into the lake like a stone ship. There was no mistake. This was my land. Or at least, it had been. That's when Lana Whitmore strutted out of the biggest cabin, perfect hair, business suit, attitude for days. She walked up, offered her hand, which I ignored. Welcome to Clearwater Community Development. You must be here about the property transition. Property transition? I just about lost it. This is my land, I told her. I've got the deed. What are you doing here? She gave me the shark grin, cool, practiced, the kind that says she's heard all this before and still gets her way. We sent you certified letters, she said. With no response, the county granted us all the necessary permits. Just like that. My family's legacy, stamped and filed away like it never mattered. But I saw something else, half hidden by the new landscaping, me Dad's cabin, not demolished, but picked up and plopped down 200 yards from where it belonged. That's when the knot in my stomach turned to ice. If they'd moved it, they were covering their tracks. You moved my father's cabin, I said. Lana glanced over, and for half a second I saw it. Fear. She covered it quick, started babbling about historical preservation, community gathering spaces, all that PR garbage. But as I walked toward the cabin, I saw fresh sawdust around the foundation, tool marks on the logs. Someone had been searching for something. What exactly were you looking for? I asked. She stiffened, shifted to full lawyer mode. Routine maintenance. Sure. That night, I tossed in a cheap motel bed, brain on fire. I kept seeing her face, afraid I'd find something she'd missed. Then, around 3 a.m., I remembered Dad's old trail cam. Solar-powered, military-grade, hidden up in the big oak to catch elk on the move. If it still worked, maybe it saw everything. Next morning, I slipped through the woods, dodged security, found the oak. The camera was still there, a little green box camouflaged against the bark. Brought it back to my motel, powered it up, hands shaking. What I found was months of footage, bulldozers, crews, Lana directing the whole circus. But then I saw her with a county official, some suit I'd never seen, passing him an envelope thick with cash. Heard her say, Phase 2 postponed survey, found a vein much larger than we expected. Need more prep before extraction. Extraction. That's when it clicked. They weren't here for cabins. They were here to mine. I took that footage to Jennifer Walshaw, lawyer, with a chip on her shoulder from her own family's land being stolen. She looked at the videos, and her jaw set like iron. This isn't just fraud, Ethan. This is RICO-level crime. And I guarantee you Lana's pulled this stunt before. She pulled up public record 7 similar cases. Always the same pattern. HOA forms, land gets transferred, owners bullied out, then it's flipped to developers. Only this time, it wasn't just property. It was the minerals under it. Meanwhile, Marcus, an old army buddy turned cybersecurity pro, helped me dig deeper. Every online map now showed the land as HOA on Google, Apple, Bing, all of them. Marcus found evidence of a bot network, hundreds of fake accounts quietly shifting records over 2 years. He traced payments millions flowing from shell companies to tech contractors, all routed through the Caymans. The real kicker? The money led straight to a Chinese lithium consortium. Suddenly, we weren't just fighting Lana, but an operation aiming to steal half the country's lithium and make us dependent on foreign supply. Threats started rolling in me truck keyed, phone full of robocalls, business cards reading, stop digging or start burying. But we kept at it. Marcus found the original survey files showing not only was my land mine, but Lana's cabins encroached on federal conservation territory. Jennifer found forged documents with signatures from a notary who'd been dead for years. Piece by piece, the puzzle came together. This was organized, global, and dirty as hell. I finally snuck back into Dad's relocated cabin, found a hidden compartment behind his old gun rack. Inside was a battered ammo box Dad's journal, a sealed envelope labeled "If legal trouble," and documents showing he'd created a bulletproof family trust. Our land couldn't be transferred, not without every Cole heir's written consent. If someone squatted for more than 2 years, it triggered a clause sending everything back to state conservation. Time was ticking. Turns out, my sister in Portland was fighting the same thing gone, HOA, trying to force her out. The fraud was everywhere. When I showed all this to Dad's old lawyer, he nearly choked. Lana had tried to change the trust, and when that failed, his office just happened to catch fire. Evidence of criminal intent? You bet. The final twist? Satellite surveys proved there was over $100 billion of lithium under Clearwater Lake. Lana was just the face of an international resource grab. With the FBI, Jennifer, Marcus, and a coalition of angry families, we staged a sting at the HOA board meeting wired for sound, feds outside. Lana, thinking she was untouchable, bragged about bribing officials, about handling whistleblowers, about Chinese partners demanding no loose ends. She even talked about taking out my sister and niece. That was all it took. Feds swept in, arrested Lana, her cronies, and seized every device. 47 people in cuffs, a U.S. senator exposed, Chinese assets frozen. My family got the land back plus damages. The cabins were torn down, the forest set to recover. Dad's cabin, rebuilt exactly as he'd made it, became the Robert Cole Conservation Center. My niece Emma started at UW, determined to protect what we'd almost lost. And Lana? She sent a letter from prison, begging forgiveness. I sent it to the Smithsonian as a warning. There are some things you don't forgive, some victories you hold on to, because if you let them go, you risk losing the whole future. Now, before you scroll on, let me ask, what would you do if it was your land, your family, your legacy on the line? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Argue justice. Share your own wild HOA story. Because in this country, the little guy still gets to fight back. And sometimes, just sometimes, she wins.